Channel 5.
Iraq's troops and tanks conquer Kuwait. President Bush denounces the invasion, announces economic sanctions. Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein now controls 20% of the world's oil reserves. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting tonight from London. Good evening. Iraq invaded and took over its tiny neighbor Kuwait today. That set off worldwide protest and drew sanctions from the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union. The government of dictator Saddam Hussein claimed it went in at the invitation of revolutionaries who had overthrown the Kuwaiti government. No Western authority accepted that story. The UN Security Council voted to condemn Iraq. The Soviet Union, Iraq's main arms supplier, cut off its weapons sales. President Bush cut off all imports to the U.S. from Iraq and froze Iraqi and Kuwaiti assets in America. Kuwait pleaded for U.S. military intervention. Mr. Bush at first said he wasn't considering it, later said he is, quote, not ruling any options out. The State Department tonight said several American oil workers in Kuwait were, quote, moved, unquote, by advancing Iraqi troops, and their whereabouts are not presently known. There are a total of 3,800 Americans believed to be in Kuwait. The Iraqi invasion followed 2 weeks of tension in which Iraq massed troops on the border while accusing Kuwait of stealing oil and driving down its price. The Bush administration believed that Saddam Hussein was bluffing. The pre-dawn assault was called unexpected. The Arab world got its first word in a bulletin from Kuwaiti radio. The radio called for help from other Arab nations. But the SOS got no response in the face of a 1 million-man Iraqi army hardened by 8 years of war with Iran. When the Iraqis massed on the border of Kuwait last week, it was widely assumed to be a bluff, a show of strength by Saddam Hussein to support his demand for a hike in the price of crude oil. But even after the dictator Hussein won his battle with OPEC, the troop buildup escalated. And today, to most of the world's surprise, including the Kuwaitis, Saddam Hussein turned out to be no bluffer.
From our viewpoint, we heard the shell fire, we heard rockets. The initial impression was one of shock. People did not expect it to happen, and they still believe that America will come and rescue them within the next few days.
One look at a map shows why the Iraqis for years have wanted to take over Kuwait. Iraq is at the head of the Persian Gulf with only a narrow strip of marshy land giving access to the waterway. Kuwait has a harbor, plus huge reserves of oil and cash. But its total armed forces were only about 20,000, no match for Iraq. The Al-Sabah family had ruled Kuwait for almost 250 years. Tonight, diplomatic sources say the emir and most of his close relatives are safe in Saudi Arabia. Today's sequence of events caused waves of anxiety throughout the Arab world and beyond. Correspondent Anthony Mason has been tracking developments from our bureau here in London and has the latest.
President Saddam Hussein wanted Kuwait, and tonight the country is completely his. Iraqi soldiers control the airport, the television station, and the palace of Kuwait's royal family. It was all over in only a matter of hours. 100,000 Iraqi troops and some 300 tanks swept across the Kuwaiti border early this morning and met only localized resistance as they took the capital. Casualty figures are sketchy but estimated in the hundreds. They include the brother of the ruling emir who died trying to save the royal palace. Rousted from their beds in the early hours of the morning, members of the UN Security Council heard Iraq's explanation for the invasion, then unanimously condemned it. Iraqi diplomats insist